Okay, good morning world. How are we today? Okay, so I have had a few days off for the long weekend, and we are back at it today. Now, this morning, what I wanted to talk about was one for the boys, actually. Now, the other day in a video, I did acknowledge and give kudos to all the mama bears that are holding it down in their households, running around all over the place, doing everything for their children and partners and their home and etc. And sometimes it's like mama bears come last, get a bit forgotten about, just even forget about themselves a bit. It's important to, acknowledge that. But it's equally as important to acknowledge all the boys out there, all the men, all the guys that are doing it tough, really walking around with the world on their shoulders, and they're feeling it. They're feeling it on their shoulders. There's so many, I would say maybe it's just like my world as well, my reality. I don't know really any guys that have like office jobs and stuff like that. It's all trades and stuff. So, from like seeing that, and obviously my partner, it's just like crazy. The physical labor, the physical work, that they are put through day in, day out. Doesn't matter if it's their own business or not, even when it's their own business, just so much hard work on the body, and when we talk about, jobs in the way of being like slave labor in this world, right? Like I feel a level of frustration when it comes to it's like you've got to go to a job in order to earn credit to be able to buy food and clothing for your body and have a house that you can live in, otherwise you're on the street. To me it's like blackmail. To me it's slave labor, and at the same time you're earning slave labor tax dollars for the government, and they just irresponsibly spend that without consulting with the people. So yes, obviously I have some frustration towards the system and how it's set up, and I have that frustration is intensified, I guess, when, say for example, I can see the physical pain that's caused to my partner by having to day in, day out for 20 something years be doing a physical labor job, and it's really hardcore. It's hardcore on the body. There's injuries that can happen just in a day, but there's also injuries that can like develop over time, and then you've got like the mental aspect of it all, kind of having to like talk yourself into showing up for work again on Monday. And it's just and that's just so you can pay your bills and stuff, you know. Like, we all kind of live in a life, in a world where, you know, unless you're really wealthy, you know, you're ticked up for stuff, aren't you? You know, you've got, you know, it's only the very wealthy that can buy a house without a mortgage. It's only the very wealthy who can buy a car without a car loan. You know, we're all ticked up. We've all got stuff that we're paying off on top of our, you know, utilities, on top of our food bill, on top of our petrol bill, on top of our rent or mortgage every week. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's like every week, you know, the reward, sort of like, it looks like it disappears as well. You know what I mean? Like, out of your bank, it comes in, but then it's like gone. You know, and so, you know, it's almost, I can see how it's almost like the reward isn't enough. It doesn't seem like enough. It's just enough to make you go back to work on Monday and do it all again, so you can pay those things again. But like, you know, how do you like have hope for the future? How do you, you know, like, try to have a mindset of, no, that's okay, this is just for now. You know, I'm going to do this in the future. I'm going to start this other new business, this new venture, you know. How do you tell yourself that when you just, you know, you're paying all your bills, but you don't have the financial freedom to be saving, you know, big dollars towards opening up a new business? You know what I mean? You need big dollars for that. It's not like you can just save $50 a week towards that. You know, you need big dollars, and you know, otherwise you've got to get a business loan as well on top of all your other loans. And just not everyone's in the position to do that. And so, you know, your prospects are like, oh well, I've got to keep being a slave, I've got to keep doing this for what, the next 10 years? Like, it's a depressing outlook, isn't it? It's a depressing prospect for yourself. And I just want to acknowledge what men are going through, because, you know, maybe it is a little bit like, I think it is in our society a little bit like, well, we just expect men to get up, put their work boots on, and go off and go do their man job, you know, like, because that's what you're supposed to do. And there's not much consideration or thought, you know, going into the fact of what they're having to put their bodies through, what they're going through mentally, you know, to pay those bills, to take care of their families, you know, even just like possibly like dreams being squashed within them, you know, yeah, their dreams and aspirations in life. You know, it's a sad thing when dreams die inside people. You know, and that's not just, you know, a men thing, that's a everybody thing. But I just say, like, I just mean, like, I would say it's very common that men just, like, get used to being the one that everything is, it feels like, is expected of. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just expected that you are going to this job every day that you possibly hate, maybe possibly, you know, don't get on with everyone you work with, or your boss is a-hole, treats everyone like crap. You know, you're going through physical pain. Maybe you have got injuries, you know, that have developed. You know, maybe it's a really high risk job, what you're doing. You know, there's so many things, you know, just what it's doing to you mentally. And it's just like the world is just expecting that of you. Even your family is just expecting that of you. You know, I really want to acknowledge that, because, yeah, like in our society, I feel like it's just expected of men. And there's not really a conversation about it. And then, you know, for a man that's getting up every day and going and doing that nowadays as well, since like, I would say like all these bullshit, excuse the language, you know, women's rights, you know, it's like false activism really, because it's for rubbish. You know, for a man to come home nowadays and like expect, you know, expect to be able to sit down and put his feet up, and that dinner is cooked and he doesn't have to do dinner, and he doesn't have to do the brunt of child rearing and caring, and he doesn't have to you know, be doing chores and things like that. Nowadays, because of all the bull crap that's been you know, paraded, it's like, oh, that's so misogynistic, that's so you know, outdated, that a man should just come home and dinner is cooked for him and stuff. But it's like, well, especially if like the woman is you know, a stay-at-home mum, like in my situation. Yes, I think that my partner should be able to come home and put his feet up. I do think he should be able to sit down and have a beer, and relax and do whatever he wants to do. You know, he still is spending time with the kids, you know, and being a family man. But I don't expect a lot of him, because why should he like put his body and his mind through what he has to every day, and then come home and you know, his day's still not over and still have to do stuff. And I mean, really, in my partner's situation, he actually does come home and still do stuff, like you know, more so on the weekends, because you know, that's when you got more time. But like, say like getting wood and chopping wood and just doing stuff around the property and whatever, like on the weekends, you know. But that's what I mean too, like most men, even if you're like living in a suburban area, you know, not a big property, but like a suburban house, you know, you've still got lawns to mow on the weekend, don't you? You've still got gutters to clean out. You've still got bits and pieces around your home or around your property that need tending to, you know. And it's just like, I don't know, I really want to give kudos to all the guys that are, you know, breaking their backs, you know, blood, sweat and tears, all that, you know, having to talk themselves into, you know, putting on the boots and going to work at a job they do not like, and, you know, just wishing for more, but like the more seems out of reach. Like don't lose faith, don't give up. You know, there is always an opportunity for you to you know, completely change your life. You know, you could change your life, you know, if you're not specifically, if you're not dependent on the exact dollar amount that you currently earn. You know, you could potentially go get a different job and like mix it up, you know, just mix it up in your life. You know, if you're a truckie, you know, you drive trucks for a living, you know, if you're not specifically needing that dollar amount that you get, well, like pack it in and go do like an RSA and become like a bartender at a pub, you know, like you can always just like mix it up, you know. I just want to give some sort of hope to all the men out there who are, you know, possibly in that mental state of, you know, it's like when boys are told as children like not to cry when they fall over and stuff because you're a boy. You know, that's only for girls. Only girls can show emotion. You know, it's just rubbish. Of course, there are men walking around left, right, and centre that have like pent up anger, that have frustration, you know, that have emotions that are bottled up and everything, even. And it's so not healthy. It's so not healthy for you. It's even not healthy for the people around you. You know, and I just think that, like, yeah, society should be a bit different with how they acknowledge men and all that they're doing. You know, it's not just that men are the ones that are opening the hard jars and, you know, getting rid of spiders. You know, they are the blood, sweat, and tears of this country. And they are the ones that we look to for protection. And they are the ones that are, you know, keeping the roof over their family's head predominantly. Okay, I know there are some situations that are different, you know, where possibly the mum of the family has a really high-paying job or whatever. I'm just saying that it's more than likely in most family situations that the dad is the one who's, you know, the breadwinner. And I just think that men should be given more kudos for everything they're doing, everything that they are getting put through, and you know, a bit more credit and stuff, because it's really hard, you know, like it's really hard on them. You know, like even today is a like winter day. It's freezing outside. It's 9 degrees right now outside where I am. And you know, it's a bit windy, and you know, I just think about my partner going out there to go work in this freezing weather, you know, breaking his back, and my partner is doing concreting, yeah, for the last several years. So he does also do rendering. He has his own rendering company, but that's like a side gig now. And yeah, you know, like I just think about him all the time, like going out into crappy weather conditions, you know, and it's just, I mean, can you imagine seriously the sucking and whining that you would hear from women if the roles were reversed? Like, can you imagine how much like women would just be like bitching hard if they were the ones that were expected every morning to put on their boots and go and do all the man jobs, and say like men were mostly stay-at-home parents. You know, like the world would stop running. I would say the world would stop running. Women would stop going to their jobs. Okay. So like when you put it in that context as well, then, you know, you should see as well how much more credit, how much more kudos all the men should be getting, because, you know, they are strapping on their boots every day. They are going to work every day. The world does keep spinning because of them. And, you know, I just think that it needed to be said. It needed to be said. Okay. Look, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in another video soon. Bye.